Hey, what's up guys? This is Brennan Faye, and most of you guys already know that we are dance teachers. So not only we have experience taking private lessons, but we also have a lot of experience teaching private lessons.
Private lessons are not cheap, especially in figure skating. So you want to make sure that you take the maximum out of the time that you're investing in them. We're here to give you a few tips on how to spend that time in the most effective way.
Before we dive in guys, we have a little announcement. Our videos will be published now every Friday instead of every Thursday because we had a little bit of a schedule change in our personal life. Now to the video.
The first thing that's important to understand is that there are several types of private lessons. There are private lessons that you take on a regular basis with your regular coach. They're usually weekly or several times a week, where you're attached to a certain coach who already knows you for a while, most likely, or will know you for a while, and kind of plans a long-term class plan based on what your combined goals are with your coach. And there are also singular private lessons that you would take maybe at a training camp or at an event that's outside of your ring, or maybe with a guest instructor. Both types of lessons have their own specifics that we're gonna keep mentioning throughout this video. However, both of them have a lot in common that applies to every situation, and we really want to talk about that. The most important tip we can give you today is come prepared. If you have a lesson coming up, especially if it's one of those singular lessons that is not part of your regular training, really think about what you want to get out of your lesson. What kind of feedback are you expecting to receive? What kind of skill are you looking to learn? What do you want the coach to look at? Remember that different coaches specialize in different things. We probably don't need to tell you that it's probably not going to be super effective to ask an ice dance coach for feedback on your jumps. That's kind of self-explanatory, but there are more intricate things to keep in mind. For example, maybe your coach was a pair skater, and while they're still great for freestyle or for moves in the field training or edges training, you might want to utilize that opportunity if you need advice on your partnering. Because your free skate, maybe you can get from a local coach at your ring, but pair or partnering advice, you might not be able to. So these are important things to look ahead at and to plan ahead so that you can get the max out of your lesson. Same applies to if you're looking to get a regular coach for your regular weekly lessons. Look around at who's available at your ring, try to know a little bit about them, talk to different coaches to see what they specialize in and how that aligns with your goals. Are you looking to train mainly in free skate? Or maybe you're just starting out and you want to focus on your edges and moves in the field first before you really dive into jumping and spinning or maybe potentially partnering or dance. So see who at your rink is really strong and really likes teaching the topic that you're most interested in, because it's very important to have the coach that is not only really good at the topic that he's teaching you or she's teaching you, but that also enjoys teaching that topic. Trust me, you're gonna get a lot more out of your lessons this way. It's always helpful to come into your lesson with some questions prepared. Try to make a list, maybe write them down, maybe just kind of have them in your head. They don't have to be super specific or like a lesson plan or anything. You just want to have a general idea of what you're looking to get out of the lesson, or maybe there was a certain move, a certain jump that you've been struggling with for a while that you really want your coach to look at. So make sure you come into the lesson armed with all of this and shoot them at your coach. See what they have to say. Tip number 2 is come ready to work. Make sure you're well rested from the night before. Oftentimes in figure skating, especially, private lessons are scheduled for early in the morning, so make sure to account for that. Maybe try to get to bed a little earlier if you can, because you want to come fully rested, energized, and focused so you can absorb the maximum amount of information. If you're tired, if you're sleepy, if you're not really feeling it, you're literally wasting your money that you're paying for the lesson, because you're not gonna absorb as much from it, you're not gonna work physically as hard as you could, and you're not gonna work mentally as hard as you could in that lesson. So make sure that you're ready to work. Building up on that is make sure you arrive early for your lesson. In our experience teaching dance, for example, and we've seen that happening quite a lot with students in figure skating at our rink as well, students tend to often arrive right at the time that the lesson is scheduled. If the lesson is scheduled for 7:45 a.m., that's when they walk through the door. Remember, when you're getting ready for your lesson, you can't just walk in the door and start right away. You still need time to change, you still need time to put your skates on, you still need time to get on the ice, and most importantly, you need time to warm up. Time is of the essence, and especially in your private lessons, time is literally money. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're stepping on the ice, fully cold, straight out of bed, the coach will take time to warm up with you, to help you warm up, maybe to give you time to warm up, which is all great, but you need to remember that this time is coming out of your lesson time. So why spend the precious time that you're paying for warm up when you come a little bit earlier, maybe 20-30 minutes earlier? Take your time to stretch off the ice, to warm up, maybe do some jumping rope. If you have an opportunity, if you have your ice session, make sure to book it a little bit before the lesson so you have time to also jump on ice and do your basic exercises. So when the coach comes and when the time for your lesson comes, you're nice and ready. The last thing within this tip is stay focused. You don't want to get distracted. Oftentimes we see, especially with the younger skaters, that sometimes they start to kind of doze off a little bit, maybe get a little bored. There's somebody jumping in the corner that's way more entertaining than what your coach is talking about. And it's understandable. We're all people, we all get distracted, but try to put as much effort as you can into staying focused on your coach. You will have plenty of time to look around the ring, to think about your homework, to think about your work if you're an adult, or this bill that you forgot to pay. But right now you have your 30 minutes or your 1 hour of the lesson where you have your coach fully to yourself. So take full advantage of it and really focus on your lesson. Try to catch every word, take notes if you need. Try everything the coach is saying. Don't just stand there and listen. You always want to try so that you know that you understand exactly what you're working on right now. And at the same time, it gives the coach more opportunity to see if something still needs fixing within what you're working on.
The tip number 3 is trust the process. Something that is very important is to tell a coach what you want to learn and what your goals are. But it is also as important to trust the coach and trust his teaching method.
The coach will see the bigger picture. So if you don't trust the coach, maybe it's better to just look at somebody else. Do not come in with your own lesson plan.
Sometimes it takes a few tries until you really find a coach that fits your needs best. Having said this, what's really important is to not micromanage the private lesson. So voice your goals, but trust the coach to figure out how to get you there. The next thing is make sure you listen and try what the coach says. Sometimes it happens, and speaking from experience, it also happens in dancing lessons, that several coaches say different things. Sometimes they kind of contradict each other, they're conflicting. Different coaches might say different things that might seem conflicting to you, but they're really not. So different coaches might have different approaches, or they might be suggesting you to do a certain exercise because they're seeing a problem that you're not aware of. So there are situations where you come to a lesson and you want to learn a certain element that is right here, and the coach keeps giving you exercises and drills that are down here, that are more basic. That's often very frustrating, and you might not see the correlation, but the truth is the coach is doing this for a reason. The coaches have their own methods of teaching and their own structure of their classes. So this is most likely what you need to get to that goal, to that certain element that you're looking for.
Oftentimes we come to the lesson with a higher expectations than what we're actually ready for. It's very common for skaters, not just skaters, all the students to overestimate what they're ready for, but the coach has the bigger picture and they will get you there. You just have to trust the process.
So the other thing that is important is to ask as many questions as you need, because like we said, different coaches have different approaches, so you don't want to leave the lesson confused. Make sure you understand everything before you leave the lesson. Tip number 4, make sure you take notes.
Write down all the corrections, write down the exercises and the drills that you did, so you remember them and that you can do them on your own.
The other thing is you need to practice between the lessons. This is something that is really gonna save you time and really gonna make you progress faster, because if you take a lesson and you don't practice until the next lesson, then what happens is the next time you come to a private lesson, you're gonna have the same problems because you didn't practice what you learned. So you're kind of progressing 25% instead of fully getting rid of the problem and coming to the next class and moving on to the next thing.
You don't want to be paying multiple times for the same exact thing. So it's in your best interest to be able to progress with your every lesson. So it is in your best interest to take what you learned in the lesson and make it as good as you can before the next. So you don't need to spend as much time working on the same thing you have already worked on last time.
So anyway guys, these were all of our tips. We hope as always that you found them helpful, and don't forget to subscribe guys. We're now really close to 1,000 subscribers. I know we keep saying this every video, but now we're really close. So don't forget to subscribe guys, and we'll see you next video. Oh, and don't forget to ask any questions if you still have them. Put them down in the comments.